Did Watches and Wonders really miss it this year, or are we just in a echo chamber of hyperbole? Let's look at this. Now, I'm saving my end of Watches and Wonders or my Watches and Wonders wrap up where I go brand by brand because there are some watches and some brands that I was really impressed by. And there are some that I was left, yes, flabbergasted and surprised. But when I take a step back, away from being a collector, just being kind of a business analyst and seeing where the trends are going in the industry, when I take a step back from that, I see some reoccurring themes. For this video, I wanted to talk about the things that I saw beyond the hype, beyond the oohs and the ahs. And one of the biggest things that I noticed this year is gold is the new gold. Think about this. The Rolex Oyster Perpetual. Not only is it two-tone gold, this is the entry level into the brand. They have a full gold version, a near $40,000 version of an Oyster Perpetual that starts at $6,000. And we talked about that in other videos on Rolex moving up market. So that's not necessarily surprising. But then you see other brands, Zenith, full gold. You see even Rolex when they introduced their new Yachtmaster, full gold. Still not new. But then you see other things, platinum, tantalum, all these different types of metals that are taking watches that you would normally see at a certain point and raising them to a higher level. Even with Tudor and its Black Bay in full ceramic. Now, I know some people are going to give, hate towards that, but a full ceramic, Meta certified, all this other stuff watch for under 10 grand is still trying to put out value out there, but it's about the material. It's really not about a new watch. And one of my, and I'll admit, this is one of my favorite releases, which really is about the gold and the material and the new watch, was Cartier's Santos Dumont and its 15-link bracelet in both gold and platinum. So that's the first thing that just jumped out to me. The next thing that jumped out to me was that the era of the tool watch, the trend of the tool watch, everything must be a tool watch, a pilot's watch, a diver's watch, a tool watch. That seems to be slipping away right now. We seem to go into the era of the lifestyle watch. Watches that people can wear day to day, engagement to engagement. And you can see this with the callback to vintage watches. So when people talk about vintage watches such as the Omega Constellation, which was released before Watches and Wonders, and they say like, man, this thing is huge. It has that vintage look, but it's in a daily wearable size. Or the star of the show, the Aura Star, which has gone back to its still 35 millimeter orientation, but it's giving you a daily dress watch, an office watch. And I've seen more watches this year akin to that. Even if you go back to the two-tone Rolex OP, it's a daily office watch, not so much a true sports watch in the sense that we've traditionally seen with, Oyster Perpetuals and Tudors and all those. So that is one of the ways that I've seen this going. Also, complications. I think complications are now the newer value again, but complications are becoming more simplified while being more complex. I'll use this as an example. I tried this on earlier this week. The IWC Big Pilot Perpetual Calendar. That thing, you can control a perpetual calendar both forwards and backwards through the crown. That's it. No other pushers, no other levers, nothing else. And it can control the moon phase with the moon phase forward and backwards. When you think about how easy it is to mess up a movement, that is really special. But the complications don't stop there. Even Oris has a daily dress watch. I know everybody talked about the Star, but the Artelier, Artelier, That Oris has a moon phase, a small seconds. It's a daily dress watch. It's at a great size, and it's still under $3,000. The small seconds, and those of you that know watches know that actually small seconds is actually easier to do than central seconds. But you've seen a lot of small seconds dial come back, and everything from Tudor with their new Monarch to, once again, the Oris, all the way up to Patek Philippe. I mean, the small seconds is a big deal. And this is one of those things to where I think it's to change the watch wearing experience, which is another thing that I've noticed. Bracelets, materials, service, certification. COSC has now gone from COSC to now they got a super COSC or whatever it is to Metas. Even Rolex is taking their superlative to a super superlative where it's getting tighter materials. It has pretty much, it's like Metas certified but more. And all those go back to ownership experience. They want to cater to the one and done watch buyer, the watch buyer that doesn't know enough about watches but wants to make sure that they get a good watch. One of the watches that I think that is impressive was not the Tudor Monarch but the Tudor Royal, which they've refreshed and gave it COSC certification. The COSC certification and in-house movement, whereas the original Royal wasn't bad, but it was a third-party movement. It was within COSC certifications or COSC standards, but not necessarily at COSC levels. But when you think about it, it itself was changed to a better bracelet, better clasp. Grand Seiko, better bracelet, better clasp. Zenith, better bracelet, better clasp. Cartier, better bracelets. All these things are to improve the ownership experience. And I think you're going to see something different over the next year. AP with their growing AP houses. Vacheron Vacheron with the new boutique down in Miami, a new boutique in Atlanta, and expanding the buying experience. Cartier opening up new boutiques, expanding the buying experience. The first time I went to look at a Louis Vuitton watch, they brought me in the back room, champagne, expanding the buying experience. So you're no longer just buying a watch at retail, you're also investing into an experience. And for some people, that will never matter. They just want to get the best price. But for other people, they want to have all that comes with a luxury experience, and they want that luxury buying experience. But all of this leads to my last point, and this is what I noticed, and this was the biggest complaint that you've probably seen from a lot of people: increases in price. When you're increasing materials, experiences, you're increasing, the types of watch. What you're trying to do is to go from a certain price point to another price level. And this is going to make all of us feel poor. At some point, you're going to be like, man, it's not worth it. And so that is why they're doing all these other things. When the pole router, everybody was complaining about the pole router and the compacts coming back in the high teens. And then once people actually got their hands on it, they're like, oh, wow, this watch is different. And I talk about that all the time, is learn your experiences. Don't just go by price point, because that's just a start. That shouldn't be the standard. If you've seen some of these trends, or you've seen something that I may have missed, let me know. Put it down in the comments. But on a business level, on a customer level, buyer's level, on an analyst level, once you look at this in the grand scheme, if you take away your pre-existing expectations, did Watches and Wonders really miss this year? Or did we really just learn something new about the industry? Let me know what you think.